Mr. Valentine, Part 3, a Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. If you haven't heard the previous 2 parts of this story, you can find a link to them in the description box below. If you haven't already, make sure you've given this video a thumbs up and comment down below in support of more fanfiction. Please don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on the latest parts of this story. It was almost too dark to see on the rooftop of Notre Dame. Sure, city lights were everywhere, but Ladybug still had to watch her footing. Her balance might be enhanced while wearing her mask, but magic only goes so far. She felt the wind caress her cheeks, now pink from the chilled February air. Where could Cat Noir be? He wasn't one to stand her up. If anyone, she was the one always running behind. She saw a bright light from underneath a cell tower. That's odd. Why would a priest use a MacBook up there? The scene piqued her curiosity and she tiptoed closer, not wanting to disturb whatever happened to be going on. To her surprise, Cat sat underneath a bell, holding a bowl with his legs crossed like a kindergartner during story time. He hadn't noticed her yet, despite his feline ears twitching as she stepped forward. There was something serene about the scene, and Ladybug couldn't seem to look away. He looked up after a few moments, his face relaxed as the sunset illuminated his hair. Cat Noir looked so peaceful that Ladybug could hardly recognize him. She stepped forward, her movement catching his attention.
Hey, Bugaboo.
Hey. She smiled and made her way over to him. The light wasn't from any electronics. It was the reflection of streetlight against the bowl he held. What are you up to?
Sit down,
Cat said, gesturing to the spot in front of him.
Did you know the bells were replaced for Notre Dame's 850th birthday?
I did not. Where was he going with this?
Do you know what sympathetic resonance is?
He looked excited, but she knew better than to guess and fail. I don't.
It's like when you pluck a D on a guitar, and a violin across the room's D string also vibrates.
So you play one thing, but something else makes noise?
Yeah.
Okay, what about it?
Have you ever played a singing bowl?
A singing what now? Cat Noir handed her a stick and extended the bowl.
Here, hit the edge with the stick, then drag it around the outside.
She found it odd that he didn't take the opportunity to go behind and wrap his arms around her as a means of flirting under the guise of explaining. Ladybug didn't mind his reservation, but she did notice it. Like this? She said. It took her a few times to get it going, but soon the bowl vibrated in her hand, tingling her fingers and stirring something in her chest.
Great job, LB,
Cat said quietly.
Now listen.
She heard humming coming from somewhere else, but couldn't pinpoint it until she looked up. The bells. The bells above them were vibrating, some matching pitch in a different octave, while others rang in harmony. She was so surprised that all she could do was silently gasp, bright-eyed in wonder at the sound surrounding her. It was unlike anything she could have imagined experiencing tonight, and she forgot for a moment that she arrived to let Cat Noir teach her how to court.
I'll meet you back here tomorrow then?
Cat asked, breaking her thoughts as the vibrations died away. She'd focused so much on the bells that she forgot to keep playing the singing bowl.
Yeah,
she said, snapping back to reality. Sounds usually didn't entice her like this, but what he showed her just now took her breath away.
Great.
Cat Noir stood up and stretched, getting ready to jump away.
The bowl's yours.
Wait, Ladybug said, standing up to join him. Aren't you going to teach me about winning someone over? About going all out? He chuckled and leaned back, playing with the ends of his hair.
Oh, bugaboo,
he began.
I already have.
The exit was dramatic as usual. Cat Noir let himself fall off the roof before catching himself with the help of his Miraculous. He'd left her with the singing bowl and a dust of magic different than the one she used to wear a mask. It was rather peculiar. Ladybug could have sworn her heart was beating a little faster after he left, and yet he hadn't touched her once, nor did he do or say anything to make her blush. So why was she replaying what happened in her head? Was it because it was so unexpected? Or because there's something magical that happens when physics meets the human understanding of music? And yet she felt like she'd learned something. She wasn't sure what yet, but perhaps she could get him to tell her tomorrow. There's no harm in asking, after all. Besides, it's not like one shared moment on a rooftop was enough to get her to fall for him. Adrian, her vice and virtue, still owned her heart without knowing he had the deed in his pocket. Back in her room, detransformed and fresh from a shower, Marinette Dupang Chang collapsed onto her bed. She glanced over at the singing bowl sitting on her nightstand. She wasn't sure what to do with it, so it came home with her, but now she was a bit curious. Picking up the stick, although a quick Google search told her it was called a mallet, that came with it, Marinette lowered her head to the bowl until it was eye level and tapped it. A soft noise hummed through the air, proof of interaction, but the moment didn't seem as magical as the first time she played it. What exactly was he doing today? She whispered to herself. It was a fun experience, but is that what all out looks like? No touching or flirting? Just cool experiences? She must be missing something. She debated calling Cat up and talking him into telling her, but part of her felt like she would lose if she did so. They weren't competing or anything, but Marinette's pride wouldn't let her move forward. She set the stick down inside the bowl and slipped under her covers, ready for bed. It was a long day, and she didn't want to think anymore. While the arcade with Adrian was enjoyable, it didn't make her happy. Then again, she didn't have the time of her life with Cat Noir, but the memory stuck out enough to cast a shadow on the time she spent with Adrian. What had Cat Noir done to get stuck in her subconscious like this? She needed to figure it out before she saw Adrian again, because it was working. She didn't want to copy Cat, though, so she closed her eyes and felt herself dripping away into dreamland, preoccupied with ways to capture Adrian Agreste's attention. Little did she know that Cat Noir's method of courting would prove successful. The question is, will Marinette succeed first, or will he? There were less than 2 weeks until Valentine's Day, after all. Thank you so much for listening. Part 4 will be available tomorrow. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more fanfiction. I'll catch you next time.